my fellow seekers of scientific spectacle, because today we're diving headfirst into the riveting tale of one man who proved that life is just a grand experiment waiting to go kaboom. Buckle up, because this is the story of J. Robert Oppenheimer, the guy who turned atoms into Hollywood-level drama. It's April 22nd, 1904, and young J. Robert Oppenheimer is born into a family that's not exactly rocking the observant Jewish lifestyle. His parents, Ella, a painter, and Julius, a textile importer, probably never imagined their son would grow up to play with atoms like they were Legos. Fast forward a bit, and our boy Oppenheimer decides to grace Harvard College with his presence at the ripe old age of 18. And what's his major? Chemistry, of course. Because what's cooler than mixing a few chemicals together and hoping nothing explodes? In 1927, Oppenheimer scores a United States National Research Council Fellowship to the California Institute of Technology, or as the cool kids call it, Caltech. Clearly, this guy had a knack for picking institutions with the snazziest abbreviations. Now, let's fast forward to October 9th, 1941, just a couple of months before the good old US of A decided to join the World War II party. And what does President Franklin D. Roosevelt do? He goes, "You know what we need? An atomic bomb, and we need it yesterday." But who do they call to make this dream a reality? None other than J. Robert Oppenheimer, the man with the chemistry degree who, presumably, also watched a lot of science fiction movies. He's brought into the project on October 21st. But of course, he doesn't work alone. He gathers a motley crew of scientists, mathematicians, and codebreakers. Think of them as the Avengers of academia. And just like that, the Manhattan Project is born. No, it's not a secret real estate scheme. It's a covert operation with a singular goal: create an atomic bomb that could put all other explosions to shame. Cue months of top-secret experiments, late-night brainstorming sessions, and enough scientific jargon to make your head spin faster than a particle collider. But here's the kicker. These geniuses were racing against time. The world was at war, and the stakes were higher than a satellite in orbit. Now let's talk numbers, shall we? The Manhattan Project wasn't just a group of lab-coated daydreamers. It was a massive endeavor involving over 130,000 people. And while the end goal was to bring an end to the war, the path was paved with controversy and moral dilemmas that make a Shakespearean tragedy look like child's play. Here's where it gets heavy. The first successful test of the atomic bomb took place in July 1945 in the New Mexico desert. It was a mind-blowing success, quite literally. But with it came the realization that this newfound power could reshape the world, for better or for worse. Then came August 6, 1945, the day the world changed forever. The atomic bomb was dropped on Hiroshima, Japan, leaving devastation and destruction in its wake. Thousands lost their lives instantly, and the ripple effects of that day are still felt to this very moment. The numbers aren't easy to hear, but they're a stark reminder of the price humanity paid for this scientific leap. The estimated death toll from the Hiroshima bombing alone is around 140,000, with countless more suffering from the long-term effects of radiation. So, there's Oppenheimer basking in the aftermath of his nuclear extravaganza, a bona fide genius with an atomic-sized ego. But hold on to your lab coats, folks, because enter stage left, the era of McCarthyism. Yes, that's right, the Cold War's favorite pastime, accusing people of being more red than a fire truck on steroids. And guess what? Our dear Oppenheimer found himself in the crosshairs of the Red Scare spotlight. It's like a cosmic game of Who's the Commie, where even your toaster might be on the KGB's payroll. Suddenly, Oppenheimer's scientific triumphs weren't enough to shield him from the political magnifying glass. Or should I say, magnifying mushroom cloud. Now let's talk security clearance, shall we? Imagine you're Oppenheimer, chilling with your equations and your occasional existential crisis, when boom, your security clearance gets revoked. Yes, that's right. The government decided that Oppenheimer's brain was more dangerous than a room full of explosive Rubik's Cubes. And the reason? Oh, it's a classic case of commie connection. Apparently, Oppenheimer had some friends, shocker, I know, who may or may not have had ties to left-leaning ideologies. Because clearly, discussing physics over coffee is just a smokescreen for plotting world domination. But wait, there's a twist. Oppenheimer's security clearance? Yep, you guessed it, never fully restored. Drumroll, please. Almost 70 years later, the United States Department of Energy decides to reverse the decision. Why, you ask? Well, apparently they realized the whole security clearance debacle was a flawed process that violated the Commission's own regulations. Who would have thought, right? Starting in 1954, Oppenheimer decides, you know what? Manhattan Project was cool and all, but I need some quality beach time. So, he starts jetting off to the island of St. John in the U.S. Virgin Islands for several months each year. Oppenheimer becomes a globe-trotting lecturer. He jets off to Europe and Japan, giving talks about the history of science, the role of science in society, and the universe's greatest mysteries. Oppenheimer, the man who unlocked the secrets of the atom, was also a chain smoker. In 1965, he's hit with the cosmic irony of a throat cancer diagnosis. Yep, even the greats can't escape irony's cruel grasp. And on February 18th, 1967, just 3 days after slipping into a coma, Oppenheimer shuffles off this mortal coil at his Princeton home. Because, you know, when you've contemplated the cosmos, death is just another cosmic event. So there you have it, the not-so-ordinary life of J. Robert Oppenheimer. From nuclear physics to sandy beaches, from lectures to lung cancer, his journey was anything but predictable. Join us next time and hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more videos from a penguin.